Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate agent Renee Kolar of Keller Williams Realty based out of Fort Worth, Texas. For Renee, there are many qualities and skills that go into being an excellent real estate professional: integrity, in-depth community and market knowledge, marketing savvy, effective negotiation skills, and a high-quality professional network, all of which are hallmarks of how she works. In her experience as a Fort Worth real estate professional, she has found that providing the very best service is essentially about putting her clients first. This means keeping herself accessible, being a good listener as well as a good communicator, and responding quickly to their needs. This client-first philosophy has always been her approach, and it requires her to continually improve her skills and ways of doing business. Her skills and achievements include the following: over 2,000 properties sold since 1986, specializes in residential and investment sales, experience with short sales and foreclosures, an extensive marketing graduate including ePro and relocation training, new home and buyer investment specialist, and having the designations of certified residential specialist and graduate of the Realtor Institute. All right, with all that said, Renee, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hey, Renee, if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
I kind of stumbled into it. I had a friend that sold real estate and did really well, and it looked like fun, and I loved looking at houses, and next thing I knew, I was a realtor.
Excellent. And do you think you could talk about what personal attributes, traits, or qualities you think have most contributed to the success that you've had in real estate?
I would say probably persistence more than anything. And I work my real estate business as a real job, where unfortunately a lot of people in real estate do it part-time or don't take it seriously. So I'm here, 8 to 6, 9 to 5, whatever it takes to make that work, plus working weekends and lots of evenings. So I would say just persistence, that ability to constantly be ready to serve your client.
And do you think you give our listeners an example of when these traits have played a role in your path toward success?
Well, I sure can. I bought a house, actually. I do a little bit of real estate investing on top of buying and selling for individuals. And I had contacted someone that wanted to sell their house and actually talked to these people for about 10 years. So persistence of calling them, following up with them, and sending mailers to them on a regular basis kept me in the forefront of their mind. And when they did actually get ready to sell that house, they sold it to me as an investment property, and I helped them buy another house. So my ability to be persistent and keeping in contact with them all those years really paid off.
Yeah, that's a long time to mature a prospect.
Some people might think that's crazy, but when you put the dollar amount on that, it was worth it.
And Renee, I think whenever somebody builds a successful career or business, that sometimes getting there, there's bumps in the road along the way. Things come up. Can you talk about some of the adversities and trials that you had to overcome in order to achieve your goals?
Oh, absolutely. When I first started, I was only 18, and I was the youngest realtor in our Fort Worth Board of Realtors. And really, age was my biggest obstacle that first few years. People didn't want to trust me. They couldn't believe that someone as young as I could sell their $200,000 house. So probably age was my first big hurdle that I had to get over. And then with being such a young person at the time, I had maybe some other ideas of what I wanted to do with my time besides sell real estate. So I had to get past some of those maturity obstacles as well. But after about 3 to 5 years of struggling through the business, I met a really neat lady that invited me to go to some training that helped me move my business forward.
And Renee, as you hit these obstacles or as obstacles come up for you, why don't you give up? What's your driving force?
Because I just don't give up. I guess it's in my nature not to give up. I wanted to keep trying. I liked that challenge. And maybe a little bit of it comes from my grandmother, because my grandmother said when I quit college, you have to do something, Renee. And when she said something, that meant either going back to college or some sort of trade school or something specific that would make me have that ability to have a good life in the future that, maybe she really struggled to have in her life. And I would say my grandmother and mother both were a great influence in helping me to want to continue to achieve something even though it might have been a struggle.
And Renee, looking forward, what's your vision for your business and your career over the next 5 years?
I'm going to hit it hard over the next 5 years. I'd like to continue the level of business that I have today, which is I'm the #1 Keller Williams agent in the Fort Worth office. I'd like to continue that for 5 to 10 more years. That would be in my goal. And then eventually my husband and I are going to retire to our ranch and raise cows.
Excellent. And I guess kind of on top of that, what do you feel is the best way you market yourself as a real estate professional so that you can have continual growth?
My #1 best marketing tool is a newsletter that I send out every month. And that newsletter goes out to all my past clients and customers, and it includes a list of all the properties I have for sale. And that's the #1 way that I get more business for myself and help my clients get their properties sold.
And Renee, I think sometimes when the general public looks at real estate agents, they don't fully understand the value that they provide from both a buyer and seller standpoint. What do you think the biggest misconception or myth people have about working with a real estate agent?
Buyers usually have the biggest misconception is that they think they're going to have to spend a lot of money to get a realtor to help them. And generally speaking, the seller pays the real estate commission, so the service that we provide to the buyer is free to them. You know, who can pass up a free service? But it's also a very valuable service because it's a way for them to be protected by that realtor to make sure that they're getting the best deal on their end. And so I would say that's a big factor and a big myth in our industry. And also I think a lot of people just don't realize absolutely how much work goes into helping people buy and sell a house. Buying and selling is one of the #1 stress inducers in anyone's life. As a matter of fact, it's in the top 3 with death and divorce. So buying and selling a house is a huge emotional factor for most people. And as a realtor, we have to keep all of that in mind while we're still trying to keep our business head on and help them get the best deal.
And Renee, let's say you get a call from a family member or a friend, and they're in another state, and they want to sell their home. Obviously, with your experience and being part of Keller Williams with a vast network of referrals, you could easily do a referral to another agent. But from a general advice standpoint, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs?
I think you want to find an agent that's experienced in the market area that you're going to. And experience means probably 3 to 5 years under their belt in that market area so that they really understand the ins and outs of the market. You want a full-time agent, not a part-time agent. You want an agent that has time to work with you that isn't too busy. I think that would be the top 3 things I would recommend to someone when they were picking a realtor in another state.
And Renee, obviously based in the Fort Worth, Texas area, and if somebody's looking for real estate services in that general area, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
At my website at reneekolar.com.
Excellent. Well, Renee, obviously we want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come here today and share all your professional real estate experience with all of our listeners. And if you're listening and you want to learn more about Renee, you can obviously go to her website, like she said. Also below this interview, we'll have a link to her site and any other contact information so you can see how she can help you with your real estate needs. So with that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.